Hello, universe. Welcome to the most spectacular wrestling podcast you will find on the internet. You are listening to Tag Me In, bro. I'm Joe Tantillo, and as always, I'm seated next to my terrific co-host, Taryn O'Connor. Say hi to the people, Taryn.
Hi to the people, Taryn.
If you're new to the show, the format is simple. Each week we discuss all the magnificent moments, turbulent times, and stunning surprises that professional wrestling has to offer.
So turn your radio up and your opinions down, because we've got some hot tags coming up NXT, which means next.
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
What's up, universe? It's Joe Tantillo here, and I am bringing you our immediate, but not so immediate, a few days later reactions for Money in the Bank and also for NXT Takeover Chicago. There's a lot to talk about with the two shows, so we're going to get straight into it. But first things first, folks, you don't want to miss out on 1 second of Tag Me In Bro content, so go on Twitter right now and join our over 6,000 followers in Wrestling Conversation. We love having you guys there. We engage with you as much as possible. Then make your way over to iTunes or wherever you listen to our podcast and give us a 5-star Frog Splash review. We would very much appreciate it. Helps us grow in the rankings and expand, and we also, appreciate the feedback and the commentary from you fans. Makes us feel good, makes it worthwhile. So let's get into that main event. Today, tomorrow, and every day, we are talking wrestling. You know it. That's why you're here. Folks, normally, as you know, we have sections and sections and sections of different things. But, of course, this is a pay-per-view review, so we are going right into the main event. So, without further ado, excuse me, I can't talk this morning. Without further ado, it is time for the main event. Woo! Yo, what up, universe? It's the J-lister, Joe Tantillo. We're here in the main event, and as always, joining me is my real-life bro from the same Mo, John Tantillo at BFLO Codebreaker, like Jericho's finisher and like his computer science career path on Twitter. Say hi to the people, John.
It's me, it's JJT.
Yo, we are talking all things Money in the Bank and NXT TakeOver Chicago numero dos. We are going to start off with Money in the Bank. John, initial thoughts and comments.
Definitely going to have to go ahead and say it was the weaker of the two WWE pay-per-views that we saw this week. It wasn't, I don't want to say it wasn't bad, because there was a lot of very questionable decisions, and I didn't enjoy it. I did not enjoy watching it live as much as I thought that I would, but a couple of the things have aged well in my mind since Sunday, so we will get into talking about that when we talk about it.
Yeah, as far as my opinions are concerned, I was live tweeting the whole thing, so you guys know. I give this a C+ rating overall. Match quality was decent. The booking was not the best. Some things worked out. Some things we'll see where it goes. But this was one of those pay-per-views where I was really disappointed by some of the when things started going wrong, they kept going wrong. So by the time it got to the end, I was so furious with the booking that I was just losing my shit. But I have now had some time to calm down a little bit, and as always, of course, things are not as bad as they initially seem, though I do have some concerns and some criticisms, but also there are a lot of positives to talk about. So let's jump right in and talk about that first match. Daniel Bryan defeats Big Cass via submission. Exactly right. Perfect decision here. The match was good. Cass got in a little more offense than he did the first time, but Bryan came out on top. He's a huge megastar. He is not going to be losing a lot of matches on this this new run of his, exactly as I predicted and as John predicted. Oh no, you picked Cass, didn't you?
I picked Cass. I really wanted Daniel Bryan to win, and I think it is the right move. I just predicted they would do the wrong thing in the right places and the right thing in the wrong places.
Yeah. Also, I forgot to say, congratulations to Team Less Little Less Big. They defeated us in the predictions, and they are the new Tag Me In Bro Tag Team Champions. Unfortunately, we lost. And it was my worst prediction performance of all time. But the booking was confusing, but also I should have picked him better. I took a lot of big risks. I knew that it was going to be risky. But anyway, no excuses. We'll get the titles back. As for the heavyweight championship, the fans have once again retained, and I really thought we were going to beat them this time. I thought we had it. We were so close. It was the closest ever. Anyway, fans retained. So yeah, the Big Cass Daniel Bryan match was fine. Next up, Bobby Lashley defeated Sami Zayn in what was the worst match of the night. But we have since found out, actually just today it was broken, that Sami Zayn has been working through a nagging injury, and this actually was a storyline to write him off of TV, so he's going to be taking off for injury for a little while. So not the worst way to write him off TV, but we obviously didn't know that, so we were pissed that it looked like an absolute burial. On the night, the booking, if you don't know that he's injured, this booking is horrible. Sami Zayn is a big star. We were very mad about it. The whole storyline sucked all the way up. Should have known that Bobby was going to win. I picked Sami, but I completely forgot that they were doing an angle where Sami was shit-talking Bobby's military experience, and if I had remembered that, I would have never in a million years picked Sami to win. However, I was wrong. But the match was crap. It was garbage. It was short. It was a squash.
It was very not good, bad.
Yeah, but hopefully we'll see some better things from Bobby in the future.
Yeah, and get well soon, Sami. We want to see you back.
Yeah. Up next, my match of the night, the Intercontinental Championship match, Seth Rollins versus Elias. I thought this match was awesome. What a great... I had picked Elias because I thought they were getting ready to take the belt off of Seth, which in hindsight they were, but we'll talk about that on our Raw podcast. But this match was spectacular. Both these men are exceptional performers. Obviously, huge things for Seth in the future. Big things for Elias as well. I think this was his coming out match, really. He hasn't had a match where he's been able to showcase his talent to this level, and I was very much impressed.
Yeah, this was also by far the best booked match of the night. Rollins won by roll-up via tights, which, again, we'll talk more about. Ended up being really interesting regarding Raw last night. But very good finish. Elias looks strong. Seth looks strong. Just very, very well handled.
All right. Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. This is when problems started to happen with this show. So actually, the show... And we didn't even talk about the Bludgeon Brothers versus the Good Brothers, which was also a good match. The Bludgeon Brothers went over as expected. But that was a fine match for a pre-show, and it's good to see the Good Brothers booked strong and look strong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, so the show did not actually start that poorly, and my aggravation didn't start to kick in until the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, there were a lot of ways that this match could have gone, and if you ranked all of them ahead of time, my final last place prediction would have been that Alexa Bliss was going to win, because out of all the women in this match, even arguably less so than Charlotte, she did not need the Money in the Bank briefcase, and there was less reason for her to get it. And yet she won. So the match itself was pretty good. Everybody got their little spot. Every single woman in this match got an opportunity to climb the ladder solo and look as though they were going to win, which was great. They all looked very strong. Becky, of course, coming out looking terrific in this match, but being used once again as the bait and switch to have us think that she's going to win it. And undoubtedly, she is the choice that people wanted to win more than anything. I didn't even pick her to win the match, but I didn't care because she is who I wanted to win this match. Now, let me say this first. I love Alexa Bliss as a character. I really do. I think she's terrific, and a lot of people don't like her. I really love her. I really enjoyed some of her work as champion, but she just simply did not need this briefcase in any way. The story for me was not there. She just lost the title so shortly ago, and she has been champion for something like 18 out of the last 24 months, like a ridiculous amount of time, which is just silly. Like, nobody needs to be the champion that long. Brock. But sorry, I had a frog in my throat. I don't understand the logic here. You just had her lose to Nia with this whole bullying angle. You have a super face Nia. It's just very confusing. And I guess they're thinking, if I had to make an educated guess here, is that Alexa can be used to launch Ronda into that top tier level, because if you book Alexa in too dominant of a way, people will start to turn on her, which many people have, including ourselves. and we will actually cheer for Ronda to win. Whereas before, Ronda was getting half the cheers at best against Nia. I didn't want her to beat Nia. I don't think you did either. You picked her to win, but you didn't want her to win.
Yeah, not quite yet.
There's some logic here. Here's the problem. Why not give it to Natalya and give her another run as champion?
Yeah, it was a much smarter, more built-in storyline, so I just don't understand why they picked Alexa when they had such a clear-cut path to the same end.
Yeah. I mean, you really could have picked any of the other Raw women would have been a better choice here, in my opinion. Sure, Ember is a face, but, like, who cares? Like, the briefcase is about opportunity. Like, it almost alleviates the face heel dynamic because you're gonna cash it in. Sasha would have been a better choice. Yeah, not thrilled with it. Did I enjoy the cash in? Yes.
It was very, very well booked.
Very, very much so enjoyed the cash in. I still don't think she needed it. Like, that's the thing with wrestling, is just because I enjoyed one thing doesn't mean it makes another thing good. So I still think, like, it's like, yeah, I enjoyed the cash in. Would I have enjoyed the cash in more if someone I felt deserved the title or deserved the briefcase had been cashing in? Yes. Yes, 100%.
Yeah, and this is, Alexa's 5th title run?
Fifth title run.
Yay.
I think she has more than Charlotte now.
I believe so. Charlotte's 3-time Raw, 1-time SmackDown.
Vince McMahon loves beautiful blonde women. Pure and simple. He really does. Like, it's hard for these other women. If you are not blonde, like, it is really hard to make your way to the championship, especially as a face.
As it is, I would like to see her lose this title by SummerSlam at the absolute latest.
Yeah, as would I.
And I do think that Ronda will be the one to take it off of her, and I think that will be a smart decision.
Yeah.
I'll call it now with how the booking's been going, but I think I will be down for that by then.
So the booking was not good in that match, but the match quality was very good. Very impressed with the women. As usual, they did not disappoint. Ember Moon really showed her stuff in this. So did Naomi.
Yeah.
Sasha looked great. Every time she bumps, I think she's going to die. Charlotte, of course, Becky, all of them. And there was not a single dud in this whole match. Even Lana, who is basically just a finisher,
took some pretty good spots.
Good spots and some good bumps. I was impressed. She's coming along.
There was only a couple times, I think it happened twice throughout the match, once with Naomi and once with Becky, where people missed their cues and they were kind of fumbling around with the briefcase, and it was...
Yeah, the Becky fumbling at the end where she actually had the carabiner open and Alexa was missing her cue was bad. And actually, of all the people I would be critical of in this match, Alexa was the only one. She never bumps, almost at all. She really is one of the weaker performers in the women's division.
She is a great character, though, and
great character.
I'm sure this championship run will be fine. It's not what I want to see right now.
Again, my problem is not with Alexa; it's with the booking. I very much I own several Alexa Bliss T-shirts, and I am an adult man. Like, I'm a fan, but just the bookings.
Why you gotta specify like that, man? I don't want to know what you are.
Also, I only own 2, but that's not several. But still. I'm a fan.
All right, let's move on.
Anyway, yeah. Roman Reigns defeats Jinder Mahal in what was also a really weak match. I mean, as far as they're concerned, it's not the worst match they've ever wrestled. The fans were against this from the beginning, and rightly so. And we're going to talk about this in our main event tomorrow, so if you want to hear extended discussion, our opinion on the fan chants during this, check out the Raw podcast. But the fans were chanting negative things from the very start. It didn't matter what happened in the ring. They were going to be against it. Fans don't like Roman. They don't like Jinder. It's Chicago. It's smarky. And a lot of people on Twitter were like, well, blah, blah, blah. It's disrespectful, and they shouldn't do that, blah, blah, blah. They only did it for this match. It's these guys specifically that triggered it. And it's because, if you're a wrestling fan, and if you're not just a casual fan, in which you are not just a casual fan if you're listening to this podcast, you know that those guys are not well liked. You know that people are trying to stick it to Vince McMahon, and they don't really know how other than that. So that's what happened. Roman won, of course.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Not too much to say there.
SmackDown Women's Championship. Fuck, SmackDown Women's Championship. Oh, this
was probably the worst match on the card.
Actually, as bad as Sammy and Bobby was, this match infuriated me the most. So my anger started with Sammy and Bobby. It continued with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match booking. This match was awful. First of all, the actual time of the match and the wrestling quality was really low because Carmella, who I actually think Carmella is better than a lot of people give her credit for, but she cannot hang with Asuka, who is, in my opinion, the best wrestler in the women's division and possibly the best female wrestler in the world. Now, that being said, Asuka's mystique is gone, as Tommy and Taryn have talked about in one of our podcasts. This was a golden opportunity to return her to her winning ways, or even to have her get attacked and lose the match, or have Carmella lose the match by disqualification. That is not what happened. What happened was James Ellsworth appeared as a spooky, fake Asuka, and Asuka was distracted for what seemed to be about 15 minutes.
She legitimately got distracted, got rolled up, kicked out of the roll-up, had a very clear opportunity to continue fighting, and then just turned back around.
Yeah, so James Ellsworth is back because apparently WWE don't think that Carmella's reign is interesting enough without James Ellsworth, despite the fact that they have put her over Charlotte clean, and she has barely been champion for even 2 months, so that's not a good sign for her. I actually think she's been a fine champion, but so Ellsworth is back. His chinless ass is just, yeah, I don't care. I don't care about James Ellsworth, and they just absolutely have ruined Asuka. I mean, she is finished, done, over, finito. There is Asuka's character for me is I don't know that I will ever be interested again. I don't know that they can.
What could they
return her to her former glory?
I mean, they can't just rerun the winning streak.
Yeah, I mean, she got pinned clean.
Yeah, it was
clean.
I don't care what people say about the distraction.
Yeah, it was not a distraction. It was a clean finish, like hard clean with a capital C.
And here's my problem is main roster cannot continue to ignore NXT. Because Asuka in NXT in one of her last championship matches kicked out of an Eclipse completely clean, kicked out and pinned Ember Moon, and then she got pinned by a fucking super kick from Carmella off of a distraction. It just the kayfabe doesn't add up.
Yeah, it's just she took so much abuse and damage in NXT, like you said, and this shouldn't have finished her, nor should the figure 8 have finished her at WrestleMania.
At least the figure 8 has never been broken. Like,
yeah.
The people have kicked out of this super kick before.
It's just a super kick.
It's just a super kick.
How many people get super kicked all the time? Oh, it's just aggravating. But yeah, they've ruined Asuka. She's done, and Carmella's reign will continue. I really hope, and I said it on our prediction show, for me, the person to defeat Carmella, especially now that James Ellsworth is back, is Becky. And at least if Becky gets the title, we'll have that. But for now, I'm seriously disappointed in the way that the women's main event scene is on, with respect to the championship on SmackDown.
I don't think Asuka's ever going to win a championship.
No, I don't think Asuka will ever hold a championship in WWE.
Yeah, after this, definitely not.
No, they're moving on. There's too many people waiting in the wings, and there's only more and more female talent that's going to come up in NXT. You have all of the 4 horsewomen of UFC coming into WWE, who are going to get really preferential treatment.
One of them is
Ronda
already
and Shayna.
One of them is already champion. One of them is very quickly going to become champion.
Yeah, so that's things did not look good for Asuka. She might be better off going back to the Indies. She'd make more money and be treated with more respect.
She'd have better matches.
She'll always have her NXT championship reign, but it's a shame. It's really a shame.
We'll always have Royal Rumble.
We'll always have Royal Rumble. She'll always be the first winner.
Well, Ronda was the first winner. Everybody knows that.
Ronda always goes over. Up next, WWE Championship, AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Great match. Really disappointing booking. Once again. Again, I feel the need to say, I love AJ Styles. I'm a huge fan. Been a fan of his long before he was in WWE. Been watching him for a very long time. He's one of the greatest wrestlers in history. He's had a great run. It was time for it to end. Shinsuke Nakamura also is never going to hold the WWE Championship.
Yeah, it's a hard truth, but it is.
You don't have. He had his whole series with Jinder, and he didn't get it from that. Now he had this whole series with Nakamura, and he hasn't got, or with Styles, and he hasn't gotten it from this. He is never holding it. Vince does not like guys who Vince did not make, with rare exception, AJ being one of them. But AJ's merch sales and popularity are just so much higher than Nakamura's.
And it's so sad because Nakamura's been putting on such great character work with the heel turn, and he's been brilliant, and they're not going to give it to him. He's not their guy.
Vince McMahon thinks it is a privilege for you as a wrestler to be chosen to be WWE champion, but I think it's a privilege to have someone as famous and important to professional wrestling like Shinsuke Nakamura listed as one of your champions.
It's
like, backwards thinking.
It's like how in New Japan, before a big title match, they'll run every IWGP champion across the Titantron. We were just talking about that, how amazing that is.
Yeah, and the list is so prestigious, and like, why wouldn't you want Shinsuke Nakamura on that list if you're Vince McMahon? Yeah. It's too short-sighted. Because Vince truly thinks, and WWE is the biggest wrestling promotion in the world. It is the best wrestling promotion in the world, but that doesn't mean that there aren't great people doing great things elsewhere. It's not the be-all, end-all.
It's really unfortunate, too, because I genuinely loved this match, and the match, I agree with every single thing they did. I just wish Shinsuke didn't lose. Even the way that Styles won was perfect.
Yeah.
Like the booking of the match itself was great storytelling. I mean, I wish the feud had been better so that the storytelling could have been better, but for what it was, great match, great storytelling.
Yeah.
I just wish it could have gone the other way.
Yeah, not one of the best matches I've ever seen, and not even the best match on this card, in my opinion, because I like the IC title match, but really, really good. It's a shame we saw the street fight from NXT the day before, which
that's a whole
we'll talk about
issue.
that when we're talking about the Takeover stuff, but man, yeah. All right. So at this point, we were at peak frustration, and then the Raw Women's Championship match, Ronda Rousey versus Nia Jax. Ronda got disqualified when, or Nia got disqualified rather, when Alexa hit her with the briefcase and cashed in. The match itself, first of all, we should talk about the match itself. It was pretty great.
It was really good.
Ronda is awesome. Ronda can really wrestle. Really impressed. I was her biggest doubter, but not doubt's not the right word. I was her biggest skeptic, rather. I loved Ronda Rousey in UFC. I wasn't sure she was going to be able to make the transition. And at every single stage, I've been like, let's wait and see if she can do it before we coronate her. But to me now, I'm firmly a believer. She's really great. Credit where credit is due. Very impressed. Very great match. She'll be a good champion in time. Now, if we can put a mouthpiece on her, because her promos are not the best, but she was never the best talker in interviews or anything. So, anyway, the match was good, but it ended with a cash-in. The cash-in was great. Alexa hits Ronda with the briefcase. Nia gets disqualified. Cashes in the briefcase. Wins with Twisted Bliss off of Nia Jax. Alexa Bliss is a 5-time Raw Women's Champion. Fuck that. Like,
yay.
It was cool to see. Fuck that. Also, now, I like cash-ins, but I like when it's more of a surprise. Like, I don't like the ones that are right away. They're always my least favorite, with the exception of when Dean did it, and only because that was all 3 members of the Shield being champion in one night.
That though.
But like now we have no women's like cash-in potential for the rest of the year, and I like that surprise. I like when it's like waiting in the wings. I really do. For me, that's just a personal.
Yeah,
note.
You know,
like,
I
it can go either way, but like for me, I like when it's hanging around.
I think it's fine after last year because last year's was so long and so much waiting that I think we can live with no briefcase for a year as long as the men's one goes fine.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the men's Money in the Bank ladder match.
We're not doing another Baron Corbin.
Another match that was all right. The match was, a lot of people really on Twitter said they really liked this match. I think it was okay. I think it was good.
Not a ton happened.
Yeah, it was really a pretty quiet match. There weren't a lot of big spots. Not even everyone got like a big iconic spot. Miz did nothing in this match.
Miz did nothing.
I thought Miz was going to win. Rude did nothing. Balor had the one spot with the coup de grace off the ladder. Kevin Owens got fucking decimated by Braun. But this match was more everyone versus Braun, and really Kevin Owens versus Braun than it was a traditional ladder match. Which is the problem with putting a monster in the ladder match, which doesn't happen that often.
I don't get the whole Owens versus Braun feud.
Yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere.
And it's just strange.
Yeah, but it wasn't my favorite match of the night. I thought Kofi would be a bigger presence in this match once he was announced. I thought Finn would do more. I thought Joe would do more. Like Joe had a couple moments where he was just like, I'm tough and I'm still here. I'm Samoa Joe. What's
Derek
his name?
Samoa.
Derek Samoa. And mostly this match was like everyone just trying to keep Braun down and Braun not staying down, and then he won.
Yeah.
Which once again, I don't think he was the right choice. Like, he's a giant, scary monster who, yes, he got pinned by Brock once after one F5, but the second time they fought in the triple threat, he was booked to look way stronger, and Brock did not pin him. I would have found it plenty convincing if he had just had another match with Brock and won. But the truth is, Brock's never getting pinned.
No, that is the big takeaway from this match, is that Brock is never getting pinned in this run. And that's a shame. Yeah, it's a shame that no one's going to get the rub.
It's probably going to be Roman Brock 3 at SummerSlam, and I think there's a really good chance that Braun cashes in, pins Roman, very similar to when Seth did it. 'Cause once again, WWE loves a callback. And then Roman and Braun will have a series of matches, and Roman will not win, and Braun will be champion for probably a fairly good amount of time, which is good. He should have a nice long reign. He should have been champion a long time ago.
Yeah, for sure. He should have won at Royal Rumble.
He should have won the first time he faced Brock, and they put everything on hold because Roman was going to have his coronation that he never had, and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
It's, you know what, not my favorite booking. Like I said, overall the pay-per-view was about a C+. Match quality was decent. The booking was really not great. But again, the positives. Ronda was amazing. The Intercontinental Championship match was so good. The women's Money in the Bank ladder match, in terms of match quality, was really good. And yeah, there were a couple other things, but those were the big ones.
Yeah, I'm just really happy to see Ronda wrestle, honestly.
Yeah. That brings us to the end of talking about Money in the Bank. Let us know your thoughts on social media. We ran a quick poll immediately after. Most people liked it. Most people said it was...
Yeah, a lot of people said it was good.
A lot of people said it was good. Not that many people...
a fair view.
Yeah, and we'll talk about compare it to the ratings from NXT, which were far stronger, but there were a lot more people that voted that it was turbulent or a dud than there were for than the average WWE pay-per-view. So while there were, I guess it depends. If casual fans love Braun and Alexa, so if you were happy with those choices, you probably loved this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's that. If you have any additional thoughts, let us know on social media, and we will talk about it. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back to talk about NXT TakeOver Chicago 2. Welcome back to Tag Me In, Bro. This is still your main event. It's JF Tantillo here and BFLO Codebreaker, or John and Joe. Or Joe and John, rather. We are talking about NXT TakeOver Chicago 2. Our thoughts, opinions, comments, criticisms, and anything else. It was fucking great.
Yeah, mainly just where I am personally just about to gush about this whole pay-per-view. I loved it.
In my opinion, the best takeover ever. And that's obviously, different people are going to have different thoughts. It was my favorite one. I think from top to bottom, every single match was exceptional. There was not one match I didn't enjoy. They were all, at least 4-star matches or A's, or however you do your ranking system. They were all the highest echelon of match, with 2 of them being really truly classic. So Let's start off from the beginning. You've got the tag match, Undisputed Era versus Lorcan and Birch. What a spec! This was a 5-star match or an A+ or whatever you want to call it. This was a fuck me up with that match, as we would call it. It was so good. Lorcan and Birch's coming out party for sure. They've had good matches before, but this was them saying to the world, we are fucking talented wrestlers.
Christ, the level of stiffness in this match was insane.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Only Lorcan has to be one of the stiffest workers in the fucking States.
They were wrestling like they really hated each other. And I don't know how NXT has managed to do it, but it's the best tag team wrestling in the world right now, in my opinion. Every single time, it's just perfect. Just perfect. The psychology, the storytelling, the in-ring technical ability, it's just phenomenal.
And they redid the double submission spot from Revival versus DIY, which was fantastic. And I forget exactly what happened, but Kyle O'Reilly just flipped over and started kicking. It was either Birch or Lorcan right in the jaw, and it was like, wow, I genuinely thought at that moment they were going to lose, and they just completely faked us out.
Yeah, I really thought they were going to lose. That was one of the best submission spots I've ever seen. Yeah. And then the armbar spot, was that in the same match? The other one I'm thinking of?
I don't know the one you're thinking of, but...
There was an armbar spot, I think it was in that match, where basically, I think it was Oni was trying to get an armbar on Kyle O'Reilly, and he just couldn't quite get it. And it was it was one of the best submission spots that, they're just a great match all around. Undisputed Era retained, as we thought they would, and
push O'Reilly, man.
Yeah, push them all. Everyone in that match deserves a push.
But Kyle O'Reilly, he is something else, man.
Yeah, just
he is
stay in NXT
incredible.
forever. Stay away from the main roster. It's not safe for you yet.
Yeah.
All right, then moving forward. Ricochet versus Velveteen Dream.
Wow.
Dream came out in that Hulk Hogan outfit, which was a middle finger to Hulk, and then he came out in the Prince Puma leggings, which was a middle finger
same
to Ricochet.
Prince Puma tights.
Yeah, I mean
the real ones.
And if you don't know, Prince Puma was Ricochet's character from Lucha Underground, which is a company that he was with before WWE. What a match this was too. This was another perfect match. I mean, it was awesome. And it was more like wrestling than spectacle. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's just going to be spectacle." I mean, it was great.
Yeah, there wasn't any major high spots. I mean, I think we saw...
There was some flippy stuff, but I like the flippy stuff, but people were complaining that there was going to be too much of it. It was just terrific. Velveteen Dream is so far beyond talented for how old he is. I mean, if he is not WWE champion someday, then I truly don't know what Vince McMahon is looking for.
He is next level.
Ricochet could be champ too. But these two guys can fight forever as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, honestly. It was good. It was very good.
Great.
Very, very
great.
Good.
Stupendous. Moving on, the women's championship match. Shayna Baszler versus Nikki Cross. Another great match.
Very, very good.
The spot at the end where Shayna is choking out Nikki and she's just smiling as she passes out. We'll never forget that as long as I live. Just, Shayna's really been a great champion. I don't know who's eventually going to dethrone her. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Candace?
Maybe. I hope she has a nice long reign because she is a good champion. She's a lot better than I thought she was going to be.
I honestly don't think anyone's ready to take it off of her yet.
No. I wouldn't say there's anyone right now. Even Kyrie is not ready.
Yeah, and I don't know if they'll pull the trigger on that. They are kind of doing a slow build to that feud, but I don't know. I don't think it will be her. I think it will be someone we haven't seen.
She has already beaten her in the Mae Young Classic, so the story is there if they choose to do it. But NXT Kyrie is very different from Mae Young Kyrie.
That's very true.
Nah. Then Aleister Black versus Lars Sullivan, the match that I was most nervous about, but ended up, again, freaking great.
Yeah, there was the one really bad botch, but...
That one botch was terrible.
It was a full whiff on the Black Mass, but Lars...
But hey, you know what? Right down Lars went right down, and instead of
no selling it, which would probably be worse.
Yeah, I don't know.
But other than that, good match. I mean, Lars is... For what he's capable of, he does everything very, very well. Aleister Black, obviously, complete star... And just, he can take anyone to a great match.
Yeah, it was easily Lars' best match. There's a bright future for him, too. And then finally, the match that we're going to talk about for the longest amount of time, Johnny Gargano versus Tomasso Ciampa in a street fight, which exceeded their previous unsanctioned match. And I didn't think it was possible, but this was the best match of the weekend by far.
Yeah, maybe the best match of that week.
Yeah,
and that's saying something.
Yeah, I mean, the storytelling in this was just unbelievable. I mean, you really believe that these guys hate each other.
Yeah, it was easily the best storytelling I've ever seen inside of a wrestling ring.
So many brutal spots with the crutches, with chairs, just everything. I mean, let's fast forward. Obviously, you have the part where Johnny was pulling up the ring to expose the wood underneath, and then they left the ring and they repeated the spot from Takeover Chicago last year, except reversed. where Johnny put Tomasso through that table, and then this whole stretcher bit after was hard. It was hard to watch.
Yeah, and they really did. They did shot for shot remake Ciampa's heel turn. It was beautiful. I mean, he slammed him into the board, kneed him in the head, tossed him off the announce table through the tables, and just, oh my God.
It was so good. And Johnny, won the match, quote unquote, on several occasions.
Yeah.
He made Tomasso tap out several times over the course of the finale. But eventually, when the refs got involved and everything, and the security, and then eventually Tomasso Ciampa hit that vintage Orton DDT onto the exposed wood, and Johnny lost, which is just perfect.
Also, who would have thought that it was just wood under there? I was surprised. I had no idea.
Also, who's ever seen vintage Orton just finish a match like that?
God, it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
The whole pay-per-view was a perfect spectacle of professional wrestling. NXT is just on such another level right now compared to, and there's some good stuff going on in New Japan, but it's not as consistent all the way through as NXT is. That format for Takeover is 2.5 hours, 5 matches, allows every single match to shine. And Triple H is just
format.
He's just brilliant. I love him.
I wish they would do that with May and just have a set amount of matches per card. Like, even if you up it to 6 or 7, still, I think that's the right move.
I'd actually rather them do that, and I've complained before about not enough people getting their time and being seen, but honestly, I'd rather have 5 quality matches than
even
like
if
10
that
bad
means
matches.
Even if that means that not every title makes the card. I mean, not every NXT title made the Takeover card. I mean, there was no UK Championship, which I know is not technically
no North American Championship.
Yeah.
So it works. It works. Anyway, in terms of positives, it was all positive. In terms of criticisms, I really didn't have any. I really didn't. It was really a perfect show for me. I was so happy watching it. Really enjoyed it.
It was incredible. Just that main event it made up for the entire weekend, honestly. The fact that WWE could produce that, even if it was NXT and different producers and different writers, the fact that this company could produce such a masterclass match makes up for everything else.
That has been our discussion. Let us know your thoughts on Twitter. We'll be talking with you guys all week and for a long time, I'm sure, about both of these shows as we move forward on the road to Extreme Rules. So, yeah. That'll do it for us here at Tag Me In Bro. Thank you very much for listening. Don't forget to follow us at Tag Me In Bro on Twitter. Leave us your thoughts, comments, questions, answers. Let us know what you liked, what you hated, and what you can give a fuck about. As always, please subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, a bunch of other stuff. We're out there. We are everywhere. For my co-host, John Tantillo, I have been Joe Tantillo. Thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you tomorrow for the Raw Review. Peace out, universe.
Goodbye, universe.